motivational speaker, I'm a businessman, image consultant, and a father to the most beautiful girl in Eastern Central Africa.
Oh, that the list is endless, right?
Yes.
Okay, what do you say?
Yes, I'm just whispering.
All right. And then we also have Bishop, yes?
Pastor.
Pastor.
Yes.
Yes, Pastor Stephen
Yes.
Muriuki.
Moirore.
Muiruri, yes.
Muiruri.
Muiruri, yes.
Yes.
Most definitely. Syllable by syllable. Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah.
Right, I'll also give you a chance to tell us your credentials.
Okay, I am Pastor Steve Anderito. I'm also a relationship counselor, mainly the young people who are headed to marriage and the young couples.
Awesome.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm also a husband
yes.
and a father to two beautiful boys.
Oh, that is cute. That
Yes,
is very good.
yes.
Congratulations, both of you.
Thank you.
Right, so let's move on into our conversation. We're speaking about submission. And I think we need to get the definition right, first of all. Because you're men, you have wives, and you expect them to submit. But when you say submit, what exactly do you expect them to do? Stephen?
I think submission is being under someone. When you're under someone, you are expected to be under submission. In short, in summary, that's what I'll say. Yes.
Robert?
Yeah, for me, he would not have put it any better, to be honest with you. It's definitely submitting under someone, but where the rubber meets the road is understanding what submission is. Both a woman, of course, this is what we're discussing, must, it's not a place of argument, submit to a man. And a man needs to understand what submission is. So there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of there's a lie that has been thrown in society that is called women empowerment. It is what has been misconstrued and has messed up the whole order, because a woman who is not under submission is a woman in error, and a man who does not understand, who understands that submission is not slavery, also is in the right place. Yes.
Then how do we differentiate the two? Because it's very important that we have a man who is not thinking with his ego that this woman should be a doormat, and a woman who is empowered, but again, she needs to understand that she needs to listen to her husband and not always scoff at him. So how do you put that balance together?
I think, Robert, Remy, we need to understand, and everyone, we need to understand the difference between submission and obedience. There is normally a confusion between the two, that when you're under submission, you are expected to obey, to say, yes, sir, I salute. Everything anybody says, yes, sir. But submission is different in a way that when you are submitting, you are doing it willingly. It's a choice. It's a choice that you make. If you choose to be under a certain kind of a person as your husband, or even in an office and everything, we choose to submit ourselves under that kind of leadership. Okay, and the choice, especially in relation to marriage or marital relationships, is based, number one, on the foundation of love. That you love this person. And number two, rather than love, you do it willingly. You decide that I submit to you. And for you to decide that, you must see the worth for that submission first. You must see the worth. What's the value? And that's why whenever we talk about matters of marriage, I always go back to the foundation. I always go back. I tell people, sometimes we try to deal with problems that we would have dealt with them very early before we entered into marriage. Like partner choice. Partner choice plays a very big role, because if you choose rightly, then you will submit willingly, and you will be happy and be able to handle any challenges that come within a marital relationship.
Okay.
So love is very key. A choice is key. You must make up your mind to submit willingly, and when you do it willingly, you realize it becomes more manageable.
Okay.
Yes.
You said something very important, Robert. The whole aspect of someone being worthy to submit to. Now, some ladies would argue that some men, their characters, their egos, they don't feel the need to do it, to submit to them because of this man's characters or what they've experienced with this particular man. Other women would also argue that, since of the experiences make the relationship loveless. So there's nothing to even give to, to submit to, rather.
That is a lie from the pit of hell. What I believe, I'm a great believer that women don't understand. There's something many women don't understand. A woman has the grace to change any man, but it's not in putting him down. One thing you must understand is the moment you understand your position as a woman, let me tell you, you're in the most powerful position. In submission, the right way, therein lies a lot of power. And let me go back so that you understand. Women might say, oh, no, we're not supposed to submit, we're equal. That's a lot of nonsense. Because even the Bible says, man is to the glory of God, but woman is to the glory of man. Do you know the work of a woman, if you're in a submission, is to praise your man? Do you know that?
I am listening.
Yes. You're supposed to bless that person, cover him. And the one thing you must understand, that if you want to change your man, and the Bible says, submit to your own. We have women now who are submitting to other men other than their husband. You tell your husband, but this other man, said this, almost making your husband feel you value another man's word. We also have women now who even value pastors' words ahead of their husband.
That's true.
You understand? Oh, my pastor said this. But when you're married, and that's why you have to make the right choice, because the moment you decide to marry a man, whether you like it or not, you must submit to that man. That is your choice. You understand? But the moment you marry a man and then you're submitting to other people, you're in error, and you become headless. Because if you're married and you're submitting to other men, that man will not cover you the way your husband would cover you. Your husband has a backing in the spiritual realm. You understand? So what a woman needs to understand is that in their place of submission, there is power. And that is why you would find out a president speaks and gives a decree, a presidential order. But sometimes these decisions are made by the women in the bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
But the man just says it in his place of authority. But the influence was a woman. You understand? I don't care how powerful a woman is. You could be earning 50 million shillings an hour, and your husband earns 10 shillings a year. But the moment you get back to your house, Margaret Thatcher, case in point, once said, when she gets back to the house, she takes her husband's shoes and polishes. And yet when she's in parliament, men shake in their boots.
And the thing is, it's very important, gentlemen, that you also do understand that a man also needs to understand that, the power or the aspect of his woman in the home. Some men cannot respect what they cannot identify. When it comes to submission, you might find a woman who is doing all those things you're saying. Maybe she's in power, like let's say Margaret Thatcher, and she holds a very big position, but she has respect for her husband. She encourages her husband. But again, I think another problem is, can some men realize that the whole aspect of what these women are doing? Because, this is a two-sided thing.
Yes.
So you're human beings. You can only give what you get, not what you cannot identify. Basically what it is.
That is very controversial. I'll tell you something. I've seen men or women whose husbands are out of order. But a woman says, I will do what I'm expected to do. And that man changes. But a man also must understand, I think Pastor said something, what is a worth? You must understand that a woman also wants to follow and submit to a man who understands himself, who is worth being followed, who knows his position. Because, of course, we have some men who are going to the road called nowhere. So why would a woman now also, it's also difficult for a woman to follow such kind of, to where? You understand? A woman wants a man with vision. A woman wants a man who understands what it's all about. And then she will submit willingly, for lack of a better word. But we have men who think you must accept everything I say, I'm the man of the house, and that. But also men need to understand, if there's a problem in the house, God will question the man. That is why Eve ate the fruit. So ideally, Eve should have been the one being given strokes, isn't it? But God went and asked Adam, what is the problem? It means the man is the authority, not the woman. But the woman is the power behind the authority. And the power comes in submission, not being at par with the man.
Okay. Stephen, what's your take?
My take is that I would like all of us to understand that submission is part of the order of the world. Submission plays in our life on a daily basis. We submit in workplace. We submit while driving on a highway. When somebody is passing, you slow down, you let the other one. That is submission. And submission by itself is not a negative connotation.
No.
It's never a negative connotation. The society today, and like Robert has put it, that this education of empowerment, of women empowerment, is making our women look at submission as if it's a negative connotation, to a level that they continue frustrating themselves.
And what is the root cause?
Yes.
What is the root cause? Why is it? Why has it been placed as something weak, as something women look at and they would not want to do? What is the root cause of all that?
I think number one is misinformation. Number two, some of us men have failed. Okay, some of us men have failed because, like, when we look at when we go in a religious perspective, we see a man being likened to Christ. And it tells us that just like Christ loved the church, so the man should love his wife. Like Christ loved the church, to the level of giving himself up for the church. So we as men, we have failed somewhere in that we are not willing to give our lives up for our women. We are not willing sometimes to even adjust some of our feelings and our ego. Our ego is so much elevated to a level that we just want to dominate. Christ has related with the church in a very loving way. Christ has been very patient with the church. Christ has operated in an environment of forgiveness whenever we go back to him. If the man would be able to learn from Christ himself, therefore our marriage institution will be in a better place. But the women also, we fail in that when we see ourselves, we come with very funny expectations in marriage. We come saying, during dating, even when we are dating, sometimes we assume and we say, you see, you're my partner, we are equals.
Yeah.
We even that happens during dating, and during dating, that's where the scripture plays, where it says, submit to one another. Submit to one another, because you have to present your worth, and you have to present your worth, and then submit to each other to make a choice.
Because everyone is putting their best foot forward.
Yes, it's putting their best. So you submit. When you present your worth, you're submitting. You're accepting to come down so that the other one may see your value and make a choice over you. The one who is making a choice is above. And when you're making a choice over the other person, that other person becomes above. Therefore, you submit to each other. When you continue in marriage, a wife is expected to submit as an ordained structure, order that God has put. A man may not be very educated. A man may not be very wealthy. But according to the order that God has set, the man remains in his position of leadership. Therefore, in collaboration with the wife, they will be able to take the family to the level that God has intended it to be.
Right. Okay, then. And I would like to tell our viewers you can call using the number at the bottom of your screens, and also SMSs on 20001. Get us on Twitter at K24TV. We're also on Facebook. Our page is K24TV. We're on WhatsApp. The number will be posted at the bottom of your screens. Now, Robert, you're speaking about something very interesting, and also Stephen has highlighted it, the whole aspect of men being expecting submission just because of their ego. Now, we're all in the rat race. I was having this conversation with Jane and Julius yesterday. Men and women, we focus more on getting ahead. We want to achieve A, B, C, D in different sectors. We want to be recognized for our efforts. We want all these connections. And sometimes we forget the most important things in our family values and the way we're handling our family members. And sometimes men are more prone to all this. They become ego-based in who they think they are and not to their family. So you'll find a man shining out there, but at home he's not really valued or respected because they're two different people. I mean, he's two different people from where he works and at home. So how can men get that balance to earn the respect of their wives or the women in their lives?
For me, it's so simple, but we make it so difficult, unfortunately. Once a man understands my work is to love, provide, and to protect. Once you understand those three things, everything else falls into place. Because there is no point of being a public success and a private failure. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you do that for your wife, then your wife understands her work is to respect you, cook for you, and give you sex when you need it. Because that's a makeup of a man. Do you know when a man is stressed, he wants sex? When a man is excited, he wants sex. When a man's team has lost Ivory Coast yesterday, a man wants to go to the bedroom and have sex. It's a way of just trying to release the energy, the tension, the stress and all that. So if you understand what the three things, love, protect, provide, respect, cook, sex. So once you understand your role, because let no one kid you, if a man is not respected in his own home, he will not conquer the world.
Sure.
The worst battle is to have a battle in your own home. So when you see a man overdoing things, maybe, it could be a cover-up. But on the same token, if you see a man flourishing, everything he touches turns into gold. Don't think it's just about the man. There's a woman behind that. Talk about the married people and in serious relationships. There's a woman nurturing that man and pushing him on in that secret place. Because when a man leaves the house in the morning, he's like a hunter. He's going to hunt, to fight. And when he comes back home in the evening, he wants a place of solace. The moment he gets that, he will conquer. And then he will do his manly duties. And then the woman is happy. Because if a woman is not happy, she will bring down any man. You understand? But there's this thing called women empowerment.
Okay, just hold on, Robert. We have a phone call.
Okay.
Hello. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, Jane.
Yes.
Hello, this is Jane from Nairobi.
Oh, Jane. Yes, Jane. Go ahead.
Hello, Remy.
Yes. Good morning, Jane.
Hello, Remy.
Yes, I can hear you.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine, and yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jane. Yeah, I'm calling from Nairobi. I want to give my reaction on this submission issue.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what I'm saying is, because mission has already been good. And I must say that some of the women in this country are actually submitting to their men.
Yes.
But the problem that we're having today is that the very men we're supposed to submit to, they are not really up to the domos. You know the domos that we know of long time ago, who used to entirely take care of the family, from scratch to the bottom to everything, you know, the jomo was doing everything. But today's men that we have in our homes, many of them realize that they're not even helping you in many things that they are supposed to do. How then, because you as a woman, you are out here struggling so much to make sure that at least your family is up and running. And the same man is supposed, the same men are supposed to be helping us. Most of them are not. Now I'm wondering, how do you submit when you're already so tired, you're so annoyed, and you are so exhausted, and now there you come, you need to submit maybe at home. How does it work? Really? Because again, you are tied down, you don't know what you should do because of that irritation. How do you handle such a case?
Okay, thank you so much, Jane. Yes, Robert, you were saying something as you wind up, and also Stephen, you'll come in.
Okay. No, she threw me off, but one thing I need to respond is already, I understand that some men, as Pastor Steve said, have also lost it. But there's a glaring thing she said that is also one of the major issues why you're having problems. The first thing she did is she compared the men to the men of old. The moment you start comparing, out there's someone better than your husband. You can be sure. There's someone better than your wife. Here you have to make a decision. I'm going to till my garden. I'm going to take care of, I don't care about, did she say Jomos? What did she say?
Okay.
That men of...
Back in the olden days.
Yes.
Really.
Don't compare. Times have changed. Issues have changed. There are more pressures right now. All you need to do is just say, this is my target. I'm going to work on this until I get the best out of it.
Yeah. Stephen, what's your take to that? And please do answer this question. There's a lady who's saying, how do you submit to a man who is violent and disrespectful?
I think it's very unfortunate I would say Jen Huko. It's very unfortunate, and there are so many ladies who are living in such environments whereby men have neglected their duty. They are like removing themselves from the position that God has placed them, the position of leadership, the position of provision, the position of providing security and protection. You see, and that's why they need to talk to counselors like Robert and so many others, so that they know how to occupy their rightful position and understand that that is not just a title. Being a man is not just a title. It's not just a man putting on trousers and moving on the streets. Being a man is knowing what you are expected to do as a man. And that is what makes a woman make a decision to follow you, because they have realized you're man enough. Otherwise, all the others who cannot be able to handle their responsibilities or sit in their seat of leadership, there is a problem and they need counseling. That's what I'll say. Yes. They need counseling, and it is very sad. And I would pray that men, we would arise to the occasion. We would arise, because there are so many ladies that are frustrated today. Marriages today are being termed to be slavery. Women are in marriage and they are saying they are slaves, and they can't come out. They can't go. Why? Because they have given birth to children. They feel years are already gone, and they have wasted their time. Therefore, they have nowhere to go. Right. But submission, I can say very clearly, submission has three things. And I mentioned earlier, and I want to make it very clear. There must be the background of love. There must be a foundation of love. Because you can't submit, like in a marriage relationship, you can't submit to someone you don't love. Number two, you must have a choice. What does that mean? It means you are not tied like a slave. That I will die here, even if they kill me, I will die. Women have been battered, have been tortured, others have been killed. I do not encourage any woman to die in the name of a husband. Because a husband who kills his wife, that person is sick. Therefore, it is not encouraging. Even the government will not encourage you. Even God will not encourage you to die in the hands of a sick man who is given to kill you.
Okay.
I will say, wake up, pray about it, persevere, and if you realize you're in danger, your life is in danger, take the right action. Run.
Okay. And Robert, there's a lady who's saying she's been married for 15 years, and every time she submits to her husband, he becomes abusive in front of his in-laws. He wants to show that he's the boss, and he becomes very disrespectful. But when she takes a stand firm, a firm stand, I beg your pardon, they go quiet. He doesn't say much, and then he seems to behave. And she really wants to submit. I mean, it's a long time, 15 years. So what can you be able to tell this woman?
First and foremost, that man has issues. That man needs help.
Sure.
A man who uses maybe violence to prove his authority is actually a very empty man inside.
Sure.
And I don't encourage. The society has made us believe that you must stay in a place, and then the same society will pick you in a coffin. You understand? And I think time has come when we have to bring down some religious barriers. That because women have stayed in marriages and have died, we've seen men dying watching TV out of depression, because society expects them to be in this thing for keeps.
Sure.
I do understand, yes, you must try your best and work it out. But what if someone is beating you every day? What if there's depression? What if there's psychological torture? What if there's physical abuse? There comes a time when you say enough is enough. And it's not about society, it's about the grace of God. It's sufficient. Sure. And sometimes you just have to make a decision. And this thing of saying, I've been here for too long, 15 years, so I can't leave. You've been beaten for 15 years.
It doesn't make
2
sense.
days later, they will kill you.
I agree with you. It doesn't make sense.
I'm staying for the children. I'm staying because I've been here for 15 years. I'm staying because I'm on the wrong side of 40. No other man will look at me. Fine. They will look at you in the coffin if you're not careful. There comes a time that, honestly, and I'm sure this is the most controversial statement I'll
Yes.
make as a minister of the gospel.
Yes.
Sometimes you must take a stand
I'm a
and
witness.
say, you know what, thank
I'll
you, sir.
back up.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to take a stand and say, fine, the religious folk expect me to be in this marriage, but you know what, I'm the one who knows what I'm going through, and I have to make a decision. If I don't leave, I will die.
And thank you for making clear it is the religious folks.
Yes.
But it is not God. I want us to make a difference between religion and God. Because God does not expect you to live with a murderer. God does not expect you to live with a person who doesn't love you. I understand there are challenges in marriage. We are not advocating for people to, whenever they face any challenge in marriage,
run.
then you run. No, we are not saying that. We are literally saying there is a certain level where you realize your life is in danger. When you realize your life is in danger, the best thing you can do, if people like Joseph in the Bible ran away from a woman who loved them, why not run away from a person who, when you see his intention and the way he's living with you, you will die? Why live in such a lifestyle?
And you know, that's the thing. I mean, what we're seeing right now is, yes, the different aspects to the whole thing about submission. But women, from what you know, we're getting on the SMS and calls, is that they do want to submit. But the issue is, some men out there are not worthy of that submission. You know, so they end up with all these issues, like what you're saying. I mean, what you're saying right now are things that people don't really talk about because. Well, they don't. They're not deemed as to the correct solution to some aspects.
Yes.
But again, submitting is something a woman needs to do, but she cannot do it because a woman is emotional. If there is nothing.
Yes, I do
She
understand.
submits, yeah.
But we need to get it back this way. God gave the man instructions separately and the woman about submission and about loving. He did not say, love her if she does this. You understand? You can get a man who is being abused by his wife every day.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean stop providing, stop protecting, and stop loving. You just do what you're supposed to do as a person. And we need to get back to that foundation. Love will melt anybody. Love can change anybody. Oh, you abuse me every day. You abuse me every day, but God expects me to provide for you, to protect you, and to love you. Oh, my man, you come home at 3 a.m. every morning. I will still serve you food. I will still do this for you. And you'll see things changing. But if it doesn't, honestly,
Yes.
there comes a time you just have to make a decision. What has happened is there's too much religiosity, and religion sometimes is nonsensical. It's not realistic. And that is why we have attended funerals, and if you find out the reason that woman died, it's because she was being battered, and 10 years later, she was told by the pastor, God hates divorce. And then, till death do us part. But God did not mean that the husband comes and kills you. You understand? So many women have been buried
Wow.
because they have been told by the religious folk, you can't leave. You can separate for a while. And God deals with you separately. But you cannot say, I was told I cannot leave. And yet you have been beaten Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, up to Saturday. You're given a break on a Sunday to go to church. And then you're beaten again on Friday.
Yeah.
On Monday, and then are given a
That's
break.
the cycle.
And then
That's the
10 years later,
You're dead.
the same pastor or the same people who are advising you, oh, don't leave, are the ones who are conducting your funeral.
Right. Thank you so much, Robert. Well, we need to wind up. Your final comments, Stephen.
I have told my wife, and I always talk to her, and I told her, honey, I love you very much, but this love is too much, is to the level of letting you go. When you realize that there is nothing I'm offering, you are free to go. Love liberates. If you're in a relationship where you feel you're cornered, you can't leave, that's a relationship that is empty. A relationship with no love. And relationship with no love is no relationship at all in marriage.
Wow, I don't even have a sound bite after all that. I'm very amazed at you too. I mean, how you're able to highlight those aspects, especially highlighting women. We don't get a lot from men. So thank you so much for coming in and being wise about this whole aspect of submission and the part from the woman and, of course, yourselves as men. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right, they've been our guests today, Robert Burale and Stephen Muiruri, speaking to us about submission, and this is their take according to men. They've even highlighted aspects concerning women. So remember, this is only part one of this conversation. We'll be speaking about it more with these two very same gentlemen here. Thank you so much for watching. Coming up shortly is Samba Chat. We already have our sporting crew, experts, if I may say, around in studio to make sure you get the latest on what's going on in the World Cup. Stay tuned.